in your opinion, how does it pose a threat to, because this is the debate, isn't it? Does social media, do these platforms, are they a national threat, and do we need to do something about it?
Yeah, definitely we need to do a lot of things about it. I personally believe we are still a very immature social media nation.
Okay.
We don't have a very mature or very literate social media users.
Right.
For most of the people, social media means just checking, posting a picture, and just putting a random video of some place or something. So in the social media, two things are very important. One of them is content.
Yeah.
And hence your question, the validity of the content. What if I hate someone or certain, let's just say a certain group or segment, and I put something against them, and if I am an influential on social media, people without validating it, without realizing the source of it, they would just post it because it was posted by Ibraheem, so somehow or the other it would be true.
Okay.
Right? So what happens is we don't verify the with sources, and so because of that a lot of misinformation is being propagated, and we see a lot of old news being re-engineered just to tap the new market and new segments, and these blind followers sometimes without checking the sources, they just propagate the news anyways.
Well, yeah, and this is what we saw. We saw, people unfortunately also losing their lives as a result of false information being put on social media.
Absolutely. Then the point is, who would ask me, because you see, with great position comes a great responsibility.
Yeah.
So if I have, let's just say, 5,000 friend list in my Facebook, and I have a page or I have a good following, then I have to make sure that whatever I am posting is not posing any threat to any individual or a community or someone.
Okay, that's the thing. So now, where do we start? Because who defines what is appropriate and what is inappropriate, Ibraheem?
Okay, so talking about appropriate and inappropriate, I think we need to understand why we are using social media, and that is something we need to educate the masses about. And only then it would tell us what kind of a post and what kind of social media interaction we would have with different people.
Okay, now let me just pause you there and let me just interject, and then you can continue. It's the fact that, okay, this is not just a problem within Pakistan.
Yeah.
This is a universal problem.
Absolutely.
Now, it's not the fact that Pakistan is developing or not developed or whatever.
Absolutely.
America has this problem, England has this problem, France has this problem. So this is not we're not attacking anyone here. It's not a criticism. This is a universal thing.
Yeah, exactly. You see, if you have recently seen on Facebook, there were few tourists who visited different parts of Pakistan, and they made vlogs about it.
Yes.
And it certainly created a very positive image of Pakistan. So why not we use social media for narrative building? Right now we use it, but in every country they use social media to build narrative, but most of that narrative revolves around certain party or certain group. But what about the national narrative, all the parties have their own narratives on the social media, but if we collaborate and we make a national narrative based around the positive projection of your country. Humans of New York when came to Pakistan, and it suddenly took Pakistan to a next level.
Yeah,
in a
we have
positive
humans
context,
of Pakistan who are doing very well.
So people got to know about a lot of new individuals doing amazing work.
Okay.
So in that particular context, and then in other countries as well, a lot of people use it. They use Twitter to share their opinions, right? But then again, it's just an opinion. But who would make it a trend? Who would make it the conversation, narrative that's a mass following?
Okay.
So we need to make sure. If the end goal is there, then people would know how to go about it.
You have given an access of a tool to the people where there's a lot of poverty and then lack of education.
Right.
Verifying the information, or as Ibrahim said, worrying about the validity of that information, you're just going to hit the one button called share, and this is it. Your friends, your followers, they get the access to see that information, and then the chain reaction mass starts. Facebook is not going to give you the control of, who controls the content.
No.
And all within their rights. Why would they let someone, control their content? So, one way where government can step in is ensuring that these blogs, these websites, they're responsible enough in floating the content on the social media, which is appropriate, and floating it in the way it actually happened, rather than manipulating it.
Okay, so now, so that's one aspect. So verifying and having these, what are your thoughts on this, Ibraheem?
Okay, so verifying information, believe me, all it takes is just good 5 to 8 minutes of research on internet to verify any news. Right?
Okay.
You'll get the information. So I beg to disagree with Hisham. What Hisham Saab has said, that the major content holder is conventional media, from where people take the clips and the talk shows and everything. I beg to disagree, because you might have seen in certain incidents, and in most cases a lot of big incidents that happened recently in different countries, all the mainstream media would play a trigger which would say, send a WhatsApp us the videos and pictures if you have any. For example, floods in Karachi recently, or the other events, the oil tanker in the southern Punjab in that case. So that means, the 5,000-7,000 rupees that I hold in my hand has a massive power. What if I click a picture, I can make you an Arshad Chaiwala a big hit.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, a lot of people in different countries are losing lives as well out of it. So this should tell me the kind of power that I have. What if I make a video in a private gathering, and by sitting at a roadside, and you never know where it would end up. And I have seen mainstream media actually doing a lot of programs around that. Now the problem is, since we don't, unfortunately, we are not very, tech savvy in a way, we won't spend those 5-7 minutes to research the news.
Basic level, it means when we are teaching our students on a primary level, on a secondary level, on a matriculation level, so we need to teach our children the positive and negative uses of social media. So is the responsibility of teachers, of the leaders, of the schools, of the education board, that since social media is now widely being used all across the world by children, by teenagers, by the youth of the country, so we need to raise awareness. We need to put in training programs for the teenagers. We need to put in training programs for the masses. Probably through your channel, I can make an appeal to the government to arrange such kind of training and motivation sessions for the youth of the country, so that they must know what are the positive and what are the negative uses of social media. Nowadays, we can see a trend on social media that someone just put on a video with a very crispy title. Just click to read more, or click and you will see that what's going on in the following video, and people just do it blindly.
Only solution here is, see, we got a illiteracy, big percentage here to deal with, and the training and education is the only solution here.
Okay, and finally, Ibraheem.
I agree with the solutions, training and education, but I think since we have so many less outlets of entertainment present in the country, we tend to vent on social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is where, the spreading the unverified news and everything comes along, because I'm just enjoying what I'm sharing and I'm getting likes. And there's a whole biological reason to that. I mean, the hit of dopamine that we get. One of my favorite authors, Simon, says a lot about, talk about it. Maybe we can talk about it some other show. But there's a biological reason attached to it.
Exactly.
And my number of likes and comments would now actually, unfortunately, determines that what kind of a content I would put. And if this kind of a content gets me more likes, then I would share it anyways.